Hey guys, welcome back. It's I don't know, June 7th, 8th, something like that, and we are gonna finish getting the last couple pieces onto the Super M as far as the manifold, carburetor, oil filter assembly, air cleaner tube, and we'll try for the steering shaft, but there's a bit of a snafu we ran into with that, but we'll see if we can get it to work with the method that I have devised.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, let me grab my gaskets and gloves. I got to get some gloves on so we can spray it with some copper spray gasket. And I always spray the manifold gaskets with that stuff because it really helps seal everything up, any imperfections in the mating surface. So let's go ahead and get that done, get the manifold on, and probably the carburetor, and then the air cleaner tube and oil filter, and we'll keep moving. Okay, copper coats on the gaskets, gaskets are slid on, and yes, I'm wearing flip-flops.
No way.
Go ahead and slide this manifold on. And I believe it's probably going to be torqued between 20 and 30 foot-pounds. Something like that. I haven't looked at the torque spec yet, but usually we go by the feeling of Guten tight, but I like to at least put some type of torque value on it when I'm doing it. All right. Mosquitoes are bad. I usually spray the yard with that off yard spray, and it works pretty good, but this year these things are just ruthless. Okay, a couple washers. I don't believe these outer ones had washers on them, but I'm going to put washers on them anyway. Those ones are too big. And look at that, I don't even have any tools out. All right. Oh, I do have a little bit of anti-seize on each one of these as well to help in case this ever has to come back apart. So. Just snug them up for now, and then we'll get the torque wrench out. Make sure they're all roughly the same as far as tightening goes. I had to borrow Domino's torque wrench. Well, the lowest this goes is 40. Let me see if there's anything in the manual real quick. 30. See what it does. Okay. Well, that is not working appropriately. Now, some tools work great, that one does not. So, it's all torqued to 40 using dominoes. One thing about torque wrenches is we always zero them out when we put them away. Something to do with, if you don't, it could possibly throw off the calibration of them. I don't know. All right, so now we can throw the carburetor on. Let's go ahead and change positions of the camera here. We're going to wait to connect the fuel line because Connor is ordering us a new one. So, I'm just going to put a little bit of high tack on here, not much, just enough. Just using my fingers to kind of distribute it so I don't use a ton. All right, now we are missing a couple lock washers. And once again, I've got to get some tools. This is one of the more difficult things to do, is the, all right. The carburetor nut on the back side. Oh, look at that. I still got to get the gasket off the carburetor. Give me a minute. All right. These half moon combination wrenches, by the way, are a lifesaver when it comes to putting these carburetors on Farmalls and a lot of other things, but in particular these Farmalls, because if you guys can see, I can get right to this rear nut without any trouble. It ain't perfect, but it's better than fighting. That way you can get them nice and tight to ensure you don't have any leaks. Okay, then we'll just tighten up the governor tube spring or screws. Now, reminder, I've talked about this several times, but there's a tab that comes off of the engagement rod that goes into a notch on the throttle shaft itself inside this housing. So make sure you get those aligned, because if you don't, it'll never idle, and it'll either idle all the time or it won't rev up. Or I mean, it'll run wide open. So make sure you get those lined up. It's easiest to do it down before you slide the carburetor up. At least that's the way I found that it's easiest. Get a longer screwdriver here. All right. So now, just put a light coat of grease on that tube so that it's easy to slide. All right. Now, one of the things I noticed, this connection here, I've noticed that this is assembled wrong. So we're going to disassemble this and reassemble it the correct way.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Okay, you guys see how this pin block, I'll call it, is on the front side of this? It should be centered between these two springs. So we're going to go ahead and remove this. We're going to have to remove the whole assembly actually, and get it situated the way it's supposed to be. There. That's what it should look like. That pin should be centered in that bracket, and the nuts should be doubled up on the end on either side of that U-shaped bracket. So that's what it should look like. Now, let's see if we can't get the steering shaft in.
It's in. Oh my God, it's in.
I try and use a key instead of a thick washer here. Oh. And where did that key go? Oh, there it is.
Oh, there you are, Peter.
I would have never found that. Okay, so this is what the dilemma is going to be. I'll show you guys in just a second. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, but the key is slid into this slot. So we borrowed this off of a parts M that Connor got from Cody because it doesn't have the power steering all cobbled up on it. And it's supposed to have a thick or heavy washer that slides down in here that goes down into the keyway in this shaft, and it acts as both a key and a spacer. So what I did was I put a key in here, and you can see that key is kind of sticking up in the middle. So I'm just going to run a drill through there and round out that key, and then I'll put a bolt through there. So that's my plan anyway.
I like you a lot.
And there you have it. If Connor's able to locate one of those thick or heavy washers, he can easily change that out. But for now, that's the setup we've got. So we're there. Steering shaft is in. Got the nut on the front. We can put the grill on. Last but not least, oh, wait a minute. Radiator cap. Okay, now it's just the oil filter and live hydraulic pump, or I should say reservoir and lines. So let's get to it. All right. Hopefully I don't hit the camera here. You can see with this oil filter in place how difficult it would be to get to that oil gauge pressure line. Oh, give me back my socket, you. All right, now we can put the new filter in. Before we put the new filter in, I'm going to put the new O-ring in the bottom. Filter. one's missing. Well, that makes it easy. Okay, well, it's all back together, minus the hydraulic pump reservoir, the belly pump control rod, which is here. I just haven't installed it yet because I got to get the hydraulic pump reservoir in and the lines. And then we also have to adjust the clutch. But other than that, it's pretty much done. Well, if it runs. So that's all I've got for this episode. Hopefully you guys can stay tuned, and maybe the next episode will be trying to get it running. So fingers crossed. All right, that's going to do it. See you later. Thanks for watching, and thanks for wrenching with me. And that's it. I'm done.
Being bad feels pretty good, huh?